This evening we'll be discussing on 5 things God will not do. 5 things that God will not do. God will never do it. Whether you are a believer, you are a sinner, you are an herbalist, you are a native doctor, anything you are, God will never do it. Whether you are a prophet, whether you are a pastor, whether you are a singer, whether you are a prophetess, whether you are an archbishop, there are these 5 things that God will never do. There are these 5 things that God will never do. Number 1, God will never lie. God will never lie. If you read Titus chapter 1 verse 2 and Hebrew chapter 6 verse 8, it says God is true and cannot deceive anyone. If a man of God have looked at you before and say by this time tomorrow this thing will happen, definitely it will surely happen. If the word he mentioned is coming from the lips of a man of God, if the word he mentioned is coming from the lip of God, I've put that word in his mouth and he look at you and say by this time tomorrow this thing will happen, it's going to happen. But if it's God that I've told him, but if it's something on his own he decide to come and tell you, then anything can easily happen. But if God have told him to tell you, nothing will happen. Now we have number 2, change his mind or plan. God cannot change his mind. God cannot change his plan. What God have decided to do, God will do it. God cannot change it for anybody. God cannot exchange his plan for anybody. God cannot exchange his plan for anybody. If you read James chapter 1 verse 17, it says God's nature and promise remain constant. If God have told you before that he's going to bless you, that blessing is constant. That love is constant. That prosperity is constant. Because God does not change in his word. If God says, I will prosper you, I will prosper you. If God says, I will bless you, I will bless you. If God says, I will curse those people that have cursed you, definitely is going to curse those people. Because what? His word is constant. His plan is constant. He said, I shall do this thing, and at the end he have done it. Maybe if somebody have told you something before by the prophetic and it did not come to pass, that does not mean that the word of God or God word cannot remain the same. Because anything God have said always remain the way he have said it, because he cannot lie. God have never changed his mind or his plan before. Now we have the 3rd one we have this evening. God does not go back in his word. If you read 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 30, he says keep his promise. If God have promised you something, God have entered a covenant with you, God have promised you something, definitely that promise will come to pass. It might tarry, it might stay for a very long time, but definitely that the promise of God, what God have promised you, must surely come to pass. But it might take time, it might take hours, it might take minutes, but the promise of God still remains the same. The promise of God never changes, because he have promised you already. He have given you that word already. His word never changes. His word remains constant, because he have given you that promise. He promised Joseph and he came to pass in his life. He promised Abraham and he came to pass. People God have promised, he did not change, because his word remained the same. His promise is constant. The temple or the cause evil. James chapter 1 verse 3 verse 14, God tests but does not tremble and hate evil. his test. He hated the evil. He hated the plan. Now I want to like this one. This one, I love this one very well. He never himself, the nature of God. God remained the same. 2 Timothy 2 verse 30. Say God remained faithful to his character. God does not have a character that can easily change. God does not have a word that in his mind he will change. God does not have this word that he will change. If he have promised you something, bear in mind that what he have promised you. Have it in mind that the word he have sent to you must surely come to pass. It might delay, but still believe in God. Because the Bible speaking and says, he that must first come must first believe that God is a rewarder for them that seek him. God never changed. His word remained the same. His voice remained the same. His thought remained the same. His character remained the same. Everything he does remained the same. His power is not limited by extension or force, but his own character and nature. Would you like with his own character and nature? The power of God remained the same. It does not change. God does not lie. If God have promised you, just believe the promise will come to pass. I just want you to drop your comment in the comment section. As you're watching me, there is something in your mind you want God to do for you. Just drop it. This is Prophet Henry Prince you are meeting. Thank you for watching. Please try and share this video to get to the next person, to get to your brother, to get to your sister. Please share this video.